So you spent like the last couple years learning a whole bunch of nursing stuff, and then you spent the next couple months cramming everything, reviewing everything you learned just to take your NCLEX. You feel great, you feel prepared, and then you get onto the unit your first day and you're like, what? Welcome back to my channel, everyone. So today I wanted to talk about surviving as a new nurse. It's never fun being a new nurse because you're going from, kind of having your like safety net as a nursing student to all of a sudden kind of being on your own and having that license in your hand. So I wanted to share a couple things with you that hopefully will help you a little bit, and some kind of things I kind of wasn't expecting to happen when I was a new nurse, or never would have thought that I needed to prepare for, or whatever. So just keep watching. The number one, the most important tip that I have is take any opportunity that you can to learn. What I mean by this is go to your new grad classes. Most hospitals offer new grad classes. You might not want to go because you've already worked your week's worth of shift, whether it's like the 312s or the 5/8s, and you're just already mentally and physically exhausted. So why would you want to come in on your day off when you can just be kind of relaxing at home? While I totally understand, I really think it's great that hospitals offer these new grad classes because you can learn so much that you may have touched in nursing school, but you're kind of not really too familiar with it, or maybe the hospital does things a certain different way, or just you've never had the experience of doing something hands-on, and the best time to do it is in a new grad class. Also, go to any workshops that your hospital might, give you for free, or there's some kind of learning opportunities that you can have. Like, for example, my hospital does something called like a buffet of learning, and they go over new evidence-based research and all that stuff, and then usually get CEUs with it. So that is something you need in order to keep your license or to renew your license. So definitely take advantage of those. And another great way to take advantage of a learning opportunity is just by seeing another nurse do something. If you've never seen a certain procedure or skill performed, and you see another nurse is about to go in to do it, whether it be, preparing a blood transfusion or starting a blood transfusion or inserting a Foley or just anything, if you see another nurse is about to do it, be like, hey, can I just watch? Because I want to say like 99% of the time, they'll say yes. Ask a lot of questions. Ask a lot of questions. I was one of the most annoying orientees ever because I asked so many questions, did so many what if scenarios, oh, okay, this is going smoothly, but what if this happened? What will we do then? And just carry a small notebook around with you, and any questions that you might have, write them down, so then when you get to work the next day, you can ask. Or if you hear residents or doctors talking about something and you find it interesting, but you really don't know too much about it, write it down in your little notebook. When you get home or when you get some downtime, just look it up. Or if a patient's getting a procedure that you aren't too familiar with, look up the policy or write it down in your notebook, just so then that way you're prepared when your time comes to have a patient with whatever it is that's going on. So this next tip is kind of I feel like I'm going a little too strong with it, but it's something that really needs to be said. Basically, be confident. For sure, be confident, but don't be cocky and arrogant. And what I mean by this, believe in yourself 100%, because confidence is key, and it's kind of like that fake it till you make it thing. But don't be one of those new nurses that you think you know everything, like insulin, duration, onset, peak, who. Don't be one of those nurses that thinks you know everything because everything's still fresh in your head, and then when someone asks if you need any help, you're just not up to getting any help. Just don't be one of those nurses. Be one of those nurses that is okay taking constructive criticism, is comfortable with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Basically, you just don't want mistakes to be happening. You have another person's life in your hands. You have your license that you just worked so hard for. You don't want to lose it just because you didn't want to ask for help, or you wanted to do something your own way or whatever. Basically, be confident, but don't be cocky. Don't be mean. So something else, and this kind of applies to all jobs that are out there in the world, is come in with an open mind. And what I mean by this is that You know, there might be some friction between some nurses or, other coworkers sometimes, and you might be just sitting in the break room and you might overhear two nurses, one nurse talking smack about another one to another nurse and like all this stuff. Don't change your opinion about whoever is being talked about just because of what you have heard. That is something that I feel like is very important in all jobs, but you need to make your own opinion. You don't want to be that nurse that hears that other nurses don't like someone else, so you're kind of jumping on that wagon, because so you wouldn't want that to happen to you, so don't do it to other people. Another tip to make everything kind of go a little more smoothly is to be a team player. What I mean by this is if you see that call light going off and you're not really doing much, go answer that call light, even if it's not your patient. Even if you can't do whatever that patient is asking for, just acknowledge them that you see their call light and tell them that you will let their nurse know, but you are doing that other nurse a favor too, because that nurse might be super busy drowning in a different situation, but at least that patient won't be upset that they were on the call light for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or however long it might take. So even if you can't do what the patient is asking for, just acknowledge them. Just don't forget to tell the nurse about it, because then both the nurse and the patient are going to be very upset. Just overall being a team player, just know that if you're helping, that's being reciprocated right back to you. People will help you with the same thing too, and it just makes everything go much smoother, and you'll see that nursing is very much teamwork. And so if you start off like that right in the beginning, you'll do fabulous. Something else that really helps is develop a routine. You might not get a routine right in the beginning because, you kind of have, a little bit of stress, a little bit of nerves. You can't really think. That's like the last thing on your mind is making a routine. You're kind of in there, you're in survival mode when you're in the beginning, your first couple like weeks and months on the floor, even when you're in orientation. Once you make a routine, it kind of gives you a sense of control again, and that routine will stick with you. I'm the same way I was when I first started. Now, I had two different preceptors because I had a day shift preceptor and then a night shift preceptor because I was originally hired for nights, but they still make you kind of go through like the day portion just so you can see and the hustle and bustle of everything. So my day shift preceptor was completely different from my night shift preceptor in the sense of like how they prepared, how they did everything, but I respect both ways very much because they're both very efficient. Now I'm kind of like in between them, and I feel like my routine works for me, and everyone's routine works for one another, but it just made life so much better. And once you just have that routine going, just stick to it. And if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, don't do it. Don't look at someone else's routine either, because it'll make you feel like you weren't cut out for nursing. Seriously, because when I first saw someone else's routine once, I was like, I can never do this kind of routine. Like, I am just not a good nurse. Like, that's just what I had concocted in my head until I made my own routine, and then it was just beautiful. So two of the things kind of go hand in hand what I'm about to mention. One of them is bring snacks. You are working for 12 hours, honestly turns into 13, 14 hours. You would think like, well, I have breakfast at home, I'll just have like a big lunch at work, and then I'm gonna just have dinner when I get home. That is usually not how it works. You'll have maybe breakfast in the My point is have snacks, because you are going to be hungry and tired because of how much you are moving around and everything like that. So having snacks on hand is nice. Nobody wants to be hungry when they're, working and doing all this stuff. So just bring a snack. Just having something that's so on the go is nice, because then you never feel you never feel that anxiety of, oh my gosh, it's already 2:00 and I still don't even know what time I'm going to be able to have lunch. Because if you can have just some almonds on you and you can just pop those in your mouth while you just swing by the breaker, finish what you're doing, that at least kind of will satiate you a little bit. And I feel like I just love food, so I feel like that's just a very important tip. So another thing that goes with that last tip is take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself. And I mean, like, whether you're at work, use correct like body mechanics. Get used to using that lovely button on the patient's bed that raises the patient's bed up. Don't be doing stuff hunched over, because I used to do that, and then I started noticing that my back started hurting really fast, and I'm like, I should not be having back problems age. So just be very smart. Don't put yourself in dangerous situations. Also, hygiene. That's a good way to take care of yourself too. You might be exhausted and you might just want to do like a quick, shower when you get home. Just take like a nice shower, so then that way you're not getting sick because, you got some germs on you, and just in general, it's relaxing at the same time. And then some other ways to take care of yourself would be like working out. Get those endorphins flowing, or it'll kind of keep you in shape. It'll just make you feel really good. That's something that I'm trying to incorporate in now, is actually like working out. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym doing some crazy stuff. Just, you know, jog around your neighborhood, or when you clean, just have like a dance party. Just something to kind of get the blood flowing and make you feel good. My personal favorite way to kind of relax and replenish is literally laying in bed and watching Lifetime movies. And you know what? I used to feel so guilty for doing that on one of my days off, because I would just be so exhausted, and in my head I'd be like, I really should be doing this, I should be more useful, you know. But you are so mentally and physically exhausted after work that it is okay to just lay in bed and just watch whatever you want to watch, and then fall asleep, have a little nap, wake up. Don't feel guilty about it, because that is self-care. And if you are not taking care of yourself, how are you supposed to take care of other people? The last thing I want to tell you is come in with the mindset that this is not permanent. So if you go onto a unit that you are not feeling like that's what you want to do, that is perfectly fine. I never thought I would end up on a telemetry unit, like / step down ICU. I always thought I wanted to do something in GI, or just basically anything non-cardiac. And then I ended up on a cardiac unit because I ended up loving my last tele clinical, and I was like, oh, I'll try it. Now I can't see myself doing really anything else. So it could work the other way. If I were to hate it, you can go on to something else in nursing. That's the beauty of it. So don't feel like you need to quit nursing, that you did the wrong thing because you don't like the unit that you're on, or if you feel discouraged because you're just not feeling the way things are going. Just know that you are able to go to any unit that you want afterwards. The unit that you are on is not permanent. And not all units are the same. Not all departments are the same. You might have a horrible time on one unit, but you might find a different unit that everyone's like family. Regardless, the first year of nursing is tough, because you are going from, again, having that security blanket that someone's there to help you out, to literally being on your own. And then you kind of have that buffer of having a preceptor for like 3 months, but then before you know it, they're gone. And it's okay. Nursing is all about teamwork. Everyone's awesome. Everyone always helps out. Nurses love to help other people. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to be scared. Pretty sure everyone was scared. I was terrified. I remember I could not sleep right before it was my time to get off of orientation. So just know it's all gonna be okay. You are not alone. If you have any other questions, let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck on your first year, or just the beginning adventures of your nursing career. Bye guys.